Hi everyone. Today is a special episode. Why?
It was your birthday yesterday.
You where's my birthday? So hi everyone. The birthday girl is introducing you to the special podcast.
That's what you're doing.
Hi everyone. I'm Mommy J.
I'm Big J.
And she's
Listen, J.
welcome to the Out of DJ Culture. We have an interesting topic for you today. We've been talking about this. I think if you watched our previous episode on YouTube, you would have found that we've been talking about virtue. And we are moving to another aspect of virtue. And so, guys, enjoy the ride as we begin to talk about virtue. As we've been speaking it from our previous episode, we are treating these characters of virtues. We've done the virtues of moral personhood. Can you tell me one thing you remember from the virtue of moral personhood?
Discernment is the right or wrong, but also, and there's also integrity.
Words and your words. Your words are your words, your actions are your actions, and discernment. You are careful with how you make your decisions. Last week, we moved on to the virtue of moral actions. Remember one thing about last week?
The initiative song.
The initiative song.
The excellence rap.
The excellent rap. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Diligence.
Diligence.
The little beavers.
The little beavers. So the father was teaching them how to be diligent.
And then responsibilities.
So you remembered all the song. What about all the talks that was included? Anything you remembered about diligence?
Sometimes about keeping the diary.
Keeping a diary journal to keep track of yourself. Most one important thing about diligence is having an excellent spirit. Yeah.
And then there's this little chart that showed everything you need to be excellent.
Everything you need to be excellent. So you remember that. So if you missed all this episode, please go to our YouTube channel. And as I said, we are still continuing the virtue of moral actions. And today's topic is temperance. So what is temperance? Any idea?
That's where temperance comes to it, right? In controlling your temper.
Yeah. So temperance is all about control, discipline,
self-control.
Yeah, self-control, discipline. All those things that have to do with putting your body to check, or putting your actions to check, or putting your words to check. Controlling yourself. So these are the things that are along with temperance. So you have self-discipline, moderation, chastity, purity, frugality, and patience. Before we go to self-discipline, so all those, do you have an idea what all those things mean?
Self-discipline, yeah. Self-discipline is just disciplining yourself. Not exactly punishing yourself, but knowing what to do at a certain time, which I need to look for.
What else?
What's the other ones? Can you see the other ones?
You want to see the other ones again?
And then moderation comes next. Moderation, doing things a bit less, or a bit slower, or getting used to something. I don't know. Chastity, or purity, or keeping yourself away from people. Keeping yourself pure.
Keeping yourself pure. Abstinence. Okay. How about frugality?
Spending less money on stuff that you don't need,
spending less money on stuff.
Maybe you have the PS4 and you really want the PS5.
And what's the last one? What's
patient?
Waiting for something patient.
Without being like, I need it now, I need it now. Give me the thing now.
Give me it. Okay, I didn't hear that. So let's go on and let's see what the slides say. Self-discipline is the principle of intention. So what does intention mean?
What you want to do. What you aim to do.
What you aim to do. Yeah.
What you
intend to do. You stay motivated on what you want to do. You keep pushing towards it, and you take action when you need to take action. So there are keywords that are associated with self-discipline. Okay, so this is a lot to take in. Can you start with Big J?
Self-discipline is the ability to push yourself forward, stay motivated, and take action, regardless of how you're feeling, physically or emotionally. Motivation and willpower contribute to it, as do persistence, the ability to follow through your intentions, and hard work.
Big J, what is that in your words?
It's describing what goes into being self-discipline, motivation, like I will do this, and willpower, just contribute to it, and persistence, pushing on, and the ability to follow through your intentions. Not saying I'm going to stay on a budget 300 and then spend 400.
We all are struggling with that, and many other areas, right?
Oh,
So we all are struggling with that. So we as individual needs to discipline ourselves. There are certain words that I'm going to point out. Ability to push yourself forward, stay focused, take action, regardless on how you feel. Motivation, great. Willpower, great. Persistent, great. Ability to follow through your intention. If I say I want to do something, I'll do it. Which of those traits work? We discussed previously work very well with self-discipline.
I'm not sure.
What does that mean? You have an integrity to go through with your intention. So self-control and integrity would be very perfect mates. They both of them will stay on the same bed. They sleep together and wake up together. All right. So literature, can you read the next one?
The possession of self-discipline enables you to choose and persevere with actions, thoughts, and behavior, which lead to improvement. It also gives you the power and inner strength to overcome addictions, procrastination, and laziness, and follow through whatever you do.
Did we mention procrastination last week? Did you mention laziness last week? What does self-discipline do? It enables you to go through, persevere with your actions, thoughts, and behavior.
It also gives you the power to overcome all your addictions and
Okay.
things that you want to do and you can't stop doing.
Okay. All right.
How do you persevere with thoughts? Is it just
So persevere with thoughts. You make up your mind. You're only going to focus on positive
what
thoughts.
else? It's like following through on your intention?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I thought
if
I was thinking the same thing over again.
yeah, thinking of something positive over and over again. If you keep having negative thoughts, let's assume those that have suicidal thoughts. Self-discipline is to keep fighting those thoughts and not allow those thoughts to overcome you until you lead to improvement and success of not feeling suicidal. You see what it means? Self-discipline moves you from position A to position C, and the improvement is the distance between A and C is B. So those two distances, self-discipline causes a progress and success to happen.
So it goes from one point, it can give you the energy to move from one point, go past one point to the
Next point.
point.
Yeah. So in those points between A and C, there are a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is B. You must overcome B before you get to C.
Sounds like the progress.
Yeah. Disciplined people are true to their words. Integrity again. When they make a decision to do something, it is set in stone. They don't even need accountability partner to keep them on track. I think there was a time we were having a discussion and I said, you need an accountability partner as you're growing up so that that person will be able to say, okay, this is what happened, this is what happened. But a person that is self-disciplined doesn't need that.
They can go by themselves, they know the path. Like
They are disciplined, they know when to do something, when they know when to stop talking, they know when to space their homework, they know when to do the right thing they're supposed to do, they know when to talk, and when they avoid temptation. Did you see that? It is hard to discipline person as well. Temptation is hard, but they still avoid it because all of us are tempted. So what are the habits of a disciplined person? They walk
Inside
their passion. So they put themselves inside their passion. They remove,
distraction.
they reward,
progress.
they do the hardest first.
Not necessarily the hardest thing first, or does it mean like not skipping? Do you really understand that?
In other words, if they have a challenge before them, they won't always choose the simpler
The
challenge.
shortcut. If
They won't take
there's a
shortcut
fork in the path, they don't choose the one that seems the
easiest. Yeah.
because it will just lead to a harder
So the self-disciplined people challenge themselves and they always take something that is hard for them to deal with.
because it gets easier.
They
Although
make
I guess the path isn't really, because like if there's a path with like loads of venomous mistakes, then there's just a clear path.
yeah, but that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
really
People that are
simple.
resilient. You don't build resilience without self-discipline, without this habit. So if you keep taking the easier part, the easier decision, where will you have to face the venomous stake, kill the venomous stake, and keep going. Because that is the way you will build resilience. Let me give you the story of a young boy that killed the lion and the bear. Why didn't he run and allow the lion to eat his sheep? He was brave. Exactly. Self-discipline. They take the hardest thing first. They'll kill the lion because they want to save the lamb. They won't say, oh, just the lamb out of all the many sheep and cattle I have. Let me allow that one to die. They make decisions. Though they are not indecisive, and they walk within their biological clock. In other words, they walk within time. They are not in oblivion.
It also means biological. If they work when they're wide awake and when they're tired, they take a rest.
Yeah, that's another point. So they take a rest when they're. I took it. And then no. Okay, so that is that. So let's go to the next slide and see what's happening. So these are the signs for a discipline. If you want to find out what a discipline, the signs of a disciplined person. Okay, let's read that together. They commit to whatever they're doing. They avoid temptation. They take care of themselves. They work to developing habits and good. They set
Boundaries.
They revel in routine.
Does that mean that they just celebrate?
Yeah, they like routine. They lead with their mind over their mood. What is that? Rationality.
Yeah. That means that they control their mood. They
Yeah,
don't just burst out. Burst out.
Yeah. They clearly define their goals. They live and die by deadlines. And they keep their eyes on the prize. I will shout about that. How do we become disciplined? Put your goals where you can see them every day. Big J, little j, write it on this wall. Write my goal for finishing my subjects every day. So on the wall in your room, write your goals. This is what I want to achieve. Remind yourself why you started, because there are times that you get discouraged. On this walk, I have gotten discouraged several times, but I need to remind myself why I started. Then set small goals first. Don't jump into the biggest goal. So the goal is for me to win the championship, the race.
Start small and then.
So you start small, and then that means that you will keep your time. The first time, if it's 100 meters, you run 5 meters. Make sure you are very brilliant in 5 meters. Then you run 10 until you get to 100. And that's the same thing with the violin. If you want to be the best violist, you start by practicing slow. Don't go to the immediately. Start with the do. You see? And then begin to climb with your speed. Practice prioritizing. Know your weakness. Get friends to help you to be accountable. So
it does say in the other one that they don't really need a friend.
That is when they are self-disciplined. But when they are learning how to be self-disciplined, you need accountability. So girls, from what we just heard, what are you taking away from there?
We need to be accountable.
You need to be accountable.
Also, self-discipline is not easy. You don't just do it overnight. It takes a lot of work.
So self-discipline takes a lot of hard work. You don't just jump on it. After 40-something years, I'm still working on trying to be disciplined. So don't think I'm a genius. And I'm still waiting to see a genius in self-discipline. What do you want to say today?
Let's say something about start small and then.
Start small. Always start. Okay, so let's keep going to the next slide. What's that?
Moderation.
And moderation is a principle of limits. Limits. When I say limits, what does that mean?
Not to go.
Don't go overboard, overly, excessively, excessively. So overboard. And you know, in our lives, we do some things overboard. So the virtue of moderation is very important. And moderation means self-control. Restrict yourself, even when you want that box of sweets. Moderation, self-control. You will resist it. Restrict yourself. Restrain yourself. See those powerful words? That means you are standing. There's a force that's pulling you, and you are pulling against the force. You limit yourself. All right. So let's see. I'll read the first one, and then we'll take it from there. Moderation is defined as avoiding excess, intense. I told you that intense power, or violence, or extremes.
So extreme sport.
Extreme, yeah. But when you want to eat 1,000 chips and you eat only one, that's an example of moderation. So you know, there are some people, whatever you put on the plate for them, they have to finish it, no matter what. Moderation is you're telling yourself, okay, I can stop here. I can stop. Like if you have a cake, you know, and you say, okay, I want to eat only 1/4 of this cake, no matter what happens, even if the ground is falling apart, you stick to that. And you know, that was how I was raised. Yeah, I keep
You
telling
always
you,
talk about.
I was raised to learn to stop and start, stop and stop.
Moderate is an ideological category which designates a rejection of radical or extreme views, especially in regard to politics or religion.
Mhm.
Oh, this is the noun.
Yeah. Yeah.
A moderate is considered someone occupying any mainstream position, avoiding extreme views and major situations.
So
So for like, I don't know, politics, it'd be someone who's centered, not
yeah.
right.
So
wing
you're
or
all
left
right.
wing.
So the moderate will be an independent person. So you are not Democrat, you are not Republican, you are not conservative, you are not Labour, you are not SNP, you are not Green. So you are in the middle. But you look at it in when you look at it in terms of religion, you can also say they are moderate Muslims. Let's say as an example, they are extremists are the ones that are violent and non-practicing. But the moderate one practice their religion and they say it's peaceful. Can you learn moderation? Answer reading.
Fortunately for us, moderation is possible and can become habit over the time. In the same way,
Abstinence can. So the same way abstinence can, moderation can also be practiced. So you don't jump and become a moderate immediately. It takes practice, just like self-discipline is practice. So all the things we are talking about, moral action, it takes practice. All the things about virtue, it takes practice. You don't, everything we talk about virtue, you don't just catch it one day. It takes discipline, it takes moderation, it takes everything. So moderation supports students to develop important self-regulation and cognitive skills, including self-reflection. When I'm talking to you, I tell you, have you reflected on what you did? Go through step 1, step 2, step 3. Moderation helps you to think, not think about what others, think about what you are doing in the context of others. Moderation helps you to think critically and ask questions. So now everybody just say something. Oh, this is where we are going. All of us are going to A. Wait, moderation will say, wait, let's think critically. They will question themselves. Let me give a very good example. Yeah, climate change can never have effect on anything. And then a critical thinking, self-questioning person will say, are we sure? Yes, it's possible it won't have an effect, but is it also possible it's having an effect? So they stay and make sure that they think. Students use moderation to set individual goals and collective goals. See why I put it there? You as a student, moderation will help you to set your goals, whatever you're doing. It will help you to regulate your thinking. It will help you to reflect. People that don't have any moderation can't think. They just think on one side, bush. But people that are moderate can think and reflect. They are rational people. How do we reflect moderation?
Listen to what your body is telling you.
Listen to what your body is telling
Sleep
you.
when you need.
Sleep, mommy J, sleep when you need to.
Or
Okay.
eat when you need.
Or eat when you
Don't
need to.
eat when
Oh
you need
no, this is me in moderation. Okay. Next one.
Don't fall into the trap of cheats and cheat days. I don't
Stop.
know what.
So that you let's assume you want to lose weight. So you cheat some days and say, oh, I'll exercise tomorrow. Yeah. Get help if you are becoming reliant on unhealthy things. Chocolate, sweet, YouTube. Yeah. Social media is unhealthy. Get help.
Well,
Don't fret when there's a slip up, but learn from them. So if you make a mistake on your journey of moderation, don't get upset. Truly enjoy those indulgences. So when you have time and you want to eat a box of chocolate, enjoy it and don't feel guilty that you're having a box of chocolate. At the same time, if it's a box of chocolate you intended to eat, don't eat 2, don't eat 3. You see? Moderation.
but then also if you're trying to lose weight, for example, you don't really just suck into a box of chocolates. Like,
Yeah, but
you
you
get
can
1 or 2, but not loads.
take the smallest dose of it if you can, given the circumstances. So always start small again. Acknowledge your big dreams and your goals always, because if you put your goals and your big dreams, you can be moderate. Like if your goal is to lose 18 kg, you will not fight and say, today I must lose 100. Yeah, the big dream is to lose 18. So you do it little by little. Celebrate your small wins over time. They will add up to be big wins. And then the last one, don't get derailed by the bumps on the way. I think we just said, don't get derailed by the bumps that you see on the way. So, Big J, Little J, what are we taking away from moderation?
Do things little by little, I guess, and don't go excessively, like I said at the beginning. And now that I learned some, I feel like it's also a lot of self-discipline. A lot of self-discipline that goes into moderation, because without self-discipline, you're trying to lose weight. You can't stop eating loads of junk food or whatever.
So there's a link between self-discipline and moderation. And I think the most important thing I took away there from is there's a temptation, you can't stop it. You can't take the temptation away, or you can cognitively develop your brain and the skill to reflect on your past failure and don't continue to do the same thing. You know, the worst thing that can happen, like Albert Einstein said, that it's only a foolish person that does the same thing over and over again and expects there to be a change. So that's where moderation and self-discipline comes in. Okay, so let's quickly go to the next one. What do we have? The next one we have is
Chastity.
Chastity and
Purity.
Purity. So what is that? The principle of moral
Purity.
what? So purity means abstinence, pure. That's it. Abstinence, pure, and avoidance. So it means when we say abstinence means that we can actually have it, but we stay away from it. And that is the same thing as moderation. In another way, moderation does not abstain. Moderation have it, but have it in small quantity. Abstinence, avoid it completely. So I'm going to have a disclaimer here at this point in terms of chastity and purity. This is the truth. Now, for the viewers, they might have their truth, your truth, his truth, her truth. But there's a difference between the truth and your truth. So I'm not disputing your truth if you're listening to me, but this is the truth. And I would like you to just bear indulgence at this point to listen from here, because this is what I researched and found about abstinence and chastity. It's not because I made it up. It's all based on the research. Girls, let's continue. So what is purity? Let's discuss that and find out what do we mean by purity and abstinence, okay? Purity is the state or degree of being pure. So that's purity. While chastity is the state of abstinence from sexual intercourse before or outside of marriage, avoidance of sexual sin. The quality of being chaste means pure moral purity. I didn't make this up. It's up on the internet if you Google it. So, with Big J, what is chastity?
Chastity, also known as purity, is a virtue related to temperance. Somebody who is chaste refrains either from sexual activity considered immoral or any sexual activity according to their state of life. In some context, for example, when making a vow of chastity, chastity would mean the same as celibacy.
So that means that you are abstaining from, according to this definition, that means sexual intercourse should happen within the confines of a marriage. So when it happens outside the confines of a marriage, it becomes sexual sin. And then chastity is the ability to refrain again, restrain again, stop that pulling, that self-control again comes into it. Moderation. So that pulling comes into it. Like you are able to deal with your feeling, because most of the time is an urge, is a feeling, is a craving, like sweet. The cake is in front of you, the chocolate cake. I need to eat it. That's like sex. It's craving, it's driving, it's pulling you. But what happens? You can say no to that. So chastity means same as celibate. You can decide to be celibate for a certain period of time. So how? So I got this quote and I felt it would be interesting to discuss this quote with the girls. Chastity is the most unpopular of a Christian virtue. C.S. Lewis. What does that mean? That a Narnia guy. What does that mean?
I don't know.
So in other words,
It just means that Christians don't want to not have sex when they're
It's too wordy.
What do you
It
mean?
means that Christians don't really think about chastity that much and just do something else about playing the Christian virtues. Think about chastity that much. And they don't remember chastity.
What you're trying to say, but in that quote, I think it's more the most unpopular means the most difficult one.
Because
So that means, yeah, you can say what you want to say. That is the most difficult one that even Christians have to deal with, because that's the one that has the greatest urge. Christians can stop stealing, Christians can stop lying, but sometimes, even for a Christian, chastity is one of the central tenets of a Christian. Imagine somebody that is not a Christian can just do anything, but even for a Christian, it's difficult. So that is a Christian quote, by the way. And for the other one by Mother Teresa, Big J, read it.
to be pure, to remain pure, can only come at a price. The price of knowing God and loving Him enough to do His will. He will always give us the strength we need to keep purity is something that's beautiful for Mother Teresa.
So Mother Teresa said we can only trust God. And like I said, this is a disclaimer part. Chastity is one of the central tenets of Christianity, and it's a virtue that each one of us, a principle now that each one of us can imbibe in our life, whether we are Christians or not. Sometimes it connotes that your body is not yours, so you have to keep it for your marriage partner. That is why it is done within the marriage context. So you also have to wait till the marriage, because you keep, oh, I'm thrilling, I'm waiting for that gift. That gift, you keep waiting for it. So it's involved delayed gratification, and it's a virtue. So you want it, but you can't have it. So it's delayed. See that box of sweets there? I put it there for delayed gratification. So the box of sweets, you're seeing it every day, but you can't have it. You want to have it.
I actually haven't had one since.
Exactly. So that's delayed gratification. So that's delayed gratification now. You see? So you understand what it means now.
They look like songs in an album or something.
All right. So in terms of how do we grow in chastity and purity? Practice moderation in your speech. Now, this is taking us beyond just sex and sexual impurity. This is now purity. This is now moderation for kids now. Practice moderation in your speech, dress, and actions. Find a good friend who has the same commitment to have a chaste life like you, so that you can support each other and be accountable. Date only people who share your values. So if you go and have a boyfriend, Big J, that wants to have sex, na 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 na. If you love me, you will let me have sex. Na 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 na. If you love me, you share the same values.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to learn to date another young man or a boy that understands that he also wants to be chaste until the time when he's ready. Plan your dates and avoid sexual temptation. In other words, avoid a situation where you'll be tempted to have sex in the car, or you sit down and be watching Netflix together and something happens because you were there together alone. Stop laughing. I'm really serious right now. Know how to resist sexual pressure. All your friends are saying, have you not slept with, you're 15 years old, you've not slept with somebody. Oh my God, you don't have a boyfriend. Oh, you should have a boyfriend. How many boyfriends you have? Are you saying nobody has kissed you before? Oh my God. So avoid
that to you.
Huh?
People do that to you.
Because I don't have friends like that, so we do it to me. I had accountability partners. You know my accountability partners. So that I never had friends that is going to put me under that pressure. That is why you should be careful with your friends. Don't be careful. Have a game plan for starting over if you need to do that. Stay within the boundaries. Set limits on your behavior, on how far you can go. If the boundaries you can go is a peck, set a boundaries to that. Focus on your future. If I'm going to have sex today, what is the future? Am I going to have a baby? I'll have to abort. Am I going to get pregnant? What is the future? How will it affect my future? If you believe in God, now back to the context of chastity and purity being a central tenet of Christianity and religion. Make personal prayer a daily habit. Ask God in your prayers to help you, to help in leading a chaste life. Keep your mind on the words of Mother Teresa. You're taking this away today. Purity is a fruit of prayers. So it doesn't jump on you. It's something that you pray constantly, because, like I said, is an urge, is a drive that wants to be satisfied. So it's not something that you can just overcome by yourself. But when you put those boundaries together and put them at the right place, you can avoid it if that's part of the virtues you want to develop. So, Big J, Little J, what are you taking from there?
Abstinence.
Abstinence.
Especially for
Mother
young
Teresa's words.
Mother Teresa's word. What is that? What's the word?
Purity is
Purity is the fruit of prayer. Okay, good. So, we go to the next one. I'm loving this.
Frugality.
The next one. Frugality is the next one.
principle of saving.
So frugality is the principle of saving, and it means
Prudence,
uh-huh,
thriftiness, and simplicity.
simplicity, living a simple life. It's very important that we live within our means and we are thrift in terms of the way we spend. That is another principle I learned very early while I was growing up. So, Big J, I need you to read the first definition and then we'll take it up from there.
The definition of frugal is not spending a lot of money and not being wasteful. An example of frugal is someone who uses coupons to buy groceries. Avoiding unnecessary expenditure, either of money or anything else which is to be used or consumed. Avoiding this.
Wait, I have a question. What are coupons?
Coupons.
Connection.
Yeah.
Like the little rectangular sheets that sometimes come in the post and they're like 20% off on your next visit to waitrose.com/online.
Or you know when you have those Tesco and you've been doing the clocking,
It
then
says
coupon.
coupons in.
Yes, put your coupons in. That's it. So a frugal person would always try to find the cheapest deal.
Yeah.
So avoid excessive spending and they avoid waste. So another thing is frugality is a powerful tool that helps you in your financial planning and in other ways. Last week, did you remember we said things about parents teaching children about financial planning in diligence? We mentioned that. So you see, it relates to frugality too. It brings you joy and helps you to feel at peace. It can also bring you to your purpose and help you to achieve long life financial goals. If your goal is to buy a very expensive house, but your lifestyle, you spend all the money you make without saving, can you achieve the goal? The key is to find frugal strategies that doesn't impede on your lifestyle. So you can still have a good lifestyle, but you have to make sure that you save in the right place and be extravagant in the other places. Okay, so a person who lives simple and economical can be called frugal. Buying clothes at a consignment shop would be considered frugal. We know what that means. Thrift shop or
Thrifty means
used clothes, yeah. Or you also buy it from outlets. So if I go to Next outlet because they have discounts there, or I go to M&S outlet, so I'm being frugal. Rather than buying it at the full price of £50, I can see to buy it at £15. The same cloth.
But what's the difference between outlet and the
So outlet is where all the clothes they didn't sell in the main shop go to. It is clothes that are going to go out of season. So that's why you also go to the thrift shop to buy.
That's why you never see any winter hats in the middle of June.
Yeah. The word is also has a positive connotation. When you describe somebody as frugal, it means they live a very simple life. That's an example of them is the Amish community in the US. They are very, very frugal. They're very thrifty and they're very conservative with their lifestyle. Let's go to some how. How do we develop frugality? Okay, so
frugal living is good for the environment.
So it's good for the environment. It's good for sustainability. It reduces waste. What else? It reduces stress.
Frugal living and improve social relationships.
Can improve. So in the house, if you have a frugal living, you will not always be quarreling about money with your partner, with your husband, or with your wife. Or with your parents.
Most of the money
yes, exactly. And then if the money is given away from mom says go and buy this, don't use this money for your books, and then you go and buy the next makeup. Not exactly. Are you going to have a happy day with mom that day? No. So frugal living can give you a sense of a larger purpose because you are targeting, you're setting a goal to do something. And it also gives you more time for important things. It makes it easier to help the cause you care for. So in other words, you would have extra money to give to support the poor, to support the charities, to support other people. And then frugal living can help you retire early.
More money.
You have more money, so you don't have to wait until you're 70 before you retire. So let's take that away, girls. Summary: what are we taking away from frugal living?
Don't spend money on semi-useless things.
Unnecessary things. What
Unnecessary.
else? It will help the environment, reduces stress in your relationships. So we conclude by saying that frugality also helps you to retire early. I'm looking forward to that. I wish. As I wish. but it's not only frugality that makes people retire early. So some people started their career late. Some people had interruptions in their career. So it's not just frugality. So, but that is a way of, if it comes to financial independence, to retire early. So let's go to the next point. Do we have another one? Yeah. So our next one is
our last one.
patience. You have been patient enough to stay. So patience is the principle of
Perseverance.
what is perseverance?
Perseverance
Going
means,
when you're
never
kind of
stop.
discouraged.
Keeping going when you're discouraged and never stopping. Two very important answer. So patience involves tolerance.
Forbearance.
Uh-huh.
And fortitude.
Do you know what those mean?
Mixed
I know
together.
what tolerance is. It's like accepting people even if you don't agree with their views.
So fortitude.
Forbearance. Oh, you know what forbearance?
What is forbearance?
Forbearance means like thinking before you do something or something like that.
Bearing with other people.
Oh yeah, and
Bearing like a girl. Bearing with other people.
You don't think English.
So fortitude means you have the courage to keep going on in the midst of adversity.
so it's like
That's a struggle.
perseverance.
Not a struggle. Struggle is different.
Adversity.
Adversity is pain. Adversity is, let's assume, when you lose your best friend, it takes fortitude to keep going. So you have the courage to go past a difficult time.
But it must be racism.
Yeah, you can also use fortitude in terms of racism. When you experience racism, it takes fortitude for you to still keep loving the people that have done those things and to keep going on with them. All right. So let's read. Little J, read the first one.
The capacity to accept or tolerate delayed problems or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious.
The ability to accept or tolerate delay, problems, suffering without being annoyed or anxious. And I know there are people like this. That is a virtue we all need to develop, right? So, Big J.
The quality of being patient as the bearing of provocation, annoyance, misfortune, or pain, without complaint, loss of temper, irritation, or the like. An ability or willingness to suppress restlessness or annoyance when confronted with delay, or to have patience as a slow learner.
Okay, so what are we saying in terms of patience? Let's break it down. The quality of being patient is the ability to be able to bear provocation, annoying neighbors, annoying friends, annoying sisters, provocating mom, misfortune of losing money, the pain that comes with a broken relationship without complaining, without losing your temper, without getting irritated, or the likes, other things that come with it. And again, it's the ability to be willing to suppress restlessness or annoyance when confronted with delay. Oh, when I'm driving, I'm annoyed when I see some drivers on the way. Oh.
Oh yes.
So learn to be patient with a slow learner. John, this is a trait we all have to work on. So let's see what else do we have in terms of patience. An example of patience is someone standing peacefully in a very long line that states the quality, quality and fact of being patient, the will and the ability to wait or endure without complaint, steadily, endurance, or perseverance in the performance of a task. I have this much work to do. I cannot be steady to do it. I can't enjoy it because I don't know it and I want to give it up. Everything you're asked to do, I want to give it up because you're not patient enough to solve it. All right, so let's go. So, how do we develop patience?
Give your love time to grow.
Now, there are two different things in terms of patience. Now, this is patience in relationships. Now, between me and the J girls, this is a learning time. How do we develop patience in our relationships? Give time for love to grow. Give each other time, breathing space. I keep telling you, appreciate everybody's boundary. Don't force yourself on others and don't make other people change. Okay, learning to be patient is a good character building. Okay,
To have patience in a relationship, begin with yourself.
so for you to say, oh, mom is not patient with me, it starts with you. Are you patient with yourself? Because whenever I'm not patient, I tell you straight I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. So I acknowledge my weakness. So it starts with me. I need to be patient first. Patience is a skill you need to learn. Then coming with patience is empathy. You cannot be patient without empathy. The ability to understand another person's situation or emotions.
Just like being sympathy.
Yeah, empathy, sympathy is different. Sympathy is I'm sorry for you. Empathy is I understand what you're going through, so I'll be patient with you. You see, there are two different things.
Empathy is kinder.
Empathy is kinder.
But they're similar.
They can do the same thing but in a different context.
They're similar word endings.
Yeah. So sympathy don't add an understanding of what you're going through. They don't. They will not. They can't go through it with you. But empathy can go through with you and understand the journey with you. Somebody lost a loved one, and people say, "Oh God, yeah, my sympathy, my sympathy." They just mention it and go. But empathy will sit with you, mourn with you, understand with you, go through the journey of mourning with you until you get to the other side. So it takes patience to be empathy requires patience.
Carve out
time to be together.
To develop patience, you need to always spend time together.
Put away all screens for a set period of time.
All screens, including Mommy J, for a set period of time to listen to the J girls. Give up your need to be right at all times.
Always count to 3.
Wait. Give up your need to be right. Did you hear that, little J?
Always count to 3.
So in other words, if something happens, always count to 10. So set realistic goals. Don't say I'm going to be patient now with all the drivers on the road. That is unrealistic. But what you do is that the realistic goal is if I'm going for school drop off, I'm going to be patient with every driver I meet. But unrealistic goal is I'm going to be patient with all the drivers for the rest of my life. Oh no, that's unrealistic. Recognize that others are beautiful humans and they all entails details you need to appreciate. Benchmark your patient developing skills. It's the same thing as unrealistic expectation. Don't say I'm going to do it all. So you have to benchmark and appreciate every success along the way. Observe the benefits of being patient. So now I was patient today. Did that cause any upset, any emotional disturbance, any, because did that stop my relationship from going well? When I realized that if I'm patient, there is more peace in the house. Mommy and little J is more at peace with me. Big J and mommy is more at peace with me. If I begin to observe those benefits, I would now encourage myself to develop more patience. Keep fit, mind, and body is very important because I tell you when I'm tired and when I'm exhausted, how do I behave? Kind. So it's also so I don't have enough patience. But when I've rested well and my mind is fit, I can have more patience. Patience require communicate, communicate, communicate. It's very important. Keep talking about it. Don't shut the door. Don't get upset. Don't stop talking. No, I'm not saying stop. I'm not saying arguing. I'm talking about communicating, right, your feelings in a respectful way for another person to listen, not in a disrespectful way. And I say, shut up, go away, go away. No, that's not communication. Communication is listen to what the person is saying, understand what the person is saying, reflect on what the person is saying, and see if you can do better. Okay, how to be patient with everybody. Take a long view when making a decision.
So look at the long-term effect.
The long-term effect of your decisions. Create buffer area between people and activities.
Take a break from others.
Take a break from others when you're becoming impatient. Be a patient listener. Listen more and talk less. Practice patience. Seek to reduce your stress so that you can be more patient with people.
So that just means rest.
Rest, reduce your stress level, and push back on reasonable demand. When you have too much to do, you also lose your patience. All right, so and get angry. So let's see, J girls, what are we taking away from patience?
We need to rest, actually.
You need to rest.
Resting is very important to patience.
Resting is important to patience. What else?
Getting along isn't easy.
Waiting for people, empathy.
Empathy, waiting on people, getting along isn't easy. Patience is another skill you need to build. It doesn't jump on anybody.
Yeah, also communication.
Communication. So always be happy with your wins. Look at the benefit you've achieved anytime you've been patient with others and practice it more. Okay, so let's go. What do we have as a conclusion for today? Okay, so J girls, we are summarizing everything and we're telling everybody this is a summary. So remember, temperance is defined as moderation or voluntary self-restraint in every area. So what are the areas we've discussed? Self-control, moderation, chastity, patience, and frugality. So it's self-restraint. You voluntary, that means you make up your mind. So volunteer to do it. Temperance has been described as a virtue by religious thinkers, philosophers, and most recently psychologists, particularly in the positive psychology movement. So it's not positive thinking, positive, positive way of doing things, not dwelling on your negative past or your traumatic experience, but begin to think of doing something more positive. So in other words, temperance go beyond religion, although we talked a lot about religious aspect of purity, but it can also be used in other aspects. So kids, remember, analyze your life and be specific in the things you do. Analyze the area where you lack self-control and begin to work on it. Set goals and so that you can easily accomplish them. Stay accountable. It's very important. What we're taking away from today, me and my J girls, accountability is very important. Review your progress regularly with others. When you've achieved something, go, I've achieved this. Don't deny yourself of simple things you can enjoy because you want to save money, then you will eat again. That's not right. So don't remove your desire from your life. So don't say because I want to be frugal or because I want to have sexual purity, I won't have friends anymore, or I won't have any opposite sex friends. That it does not make any sense. Enjoy your life, but do it in the boundaries that is expected. So kids, we are saying, I hope you enjoyed today's session. I did. Personally, it was a challenging one to bring to you, but I'm glad I did because I was able to talk about it. These are very difficult topics to talk about nowadays. But to be fair, if we don't talk about it, we don't know the truth. We always follow your truth or my truth or their truth. So the truth is always established by community or whatever backgrounds, like we said in the last slide. It has been defined by several bodies, religion, psychologists, philosophy, and all that. So I hope you're taking away something. And if there's something you need to correct and if there's a discussion or a comment you need to say to us about what you heard today, kindly remember to leave your comment, inbox us, visit our website, like and subscribe to our channel. And on this note, we'll see you next week again on another area of virtue. We'll say
Bye.